What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host for today, Josh, and I just figured we'd do a live stream. I was hoping to do one on the provisional 35 to 55 man roster, but Canada wanted to keep that one to themselves. So, there's been a ton of rumors surrounding Jonathan David, where he could potentially go. So that's what we're doing here. You can probably see by the thumbnail, there's a few teams that he's been linked to pretty, I wouldn't say heavily. I think Chelsea's probably a pretty safe one to say that he's been relatively heavily linked to. There's United. There's been soft rumors around like Real Madrid, Bayern. But I wanted to get you guys' take on it because I think it's an interesting one, considering how well he's done so far this season. He's leading Liga in goals. He's looking consistent. That was a big issue with him over the past few seasons is time to time he kind of struggled a little bit with basically just scoring at a consistent rate, going through goal streaks. He looks very, very good right now. And with the World Cup coming up, the opportunity to kind of take that next step on the global scale, leading into a transfer window in January, I just think that there's something there. So today we're going to just simply take a look at some of the options. I want to hear from you guys in the chat, and we'll start off. But then, like the biggest rumor right now surrounding Jonathan David is Chelsea. And Chelsea, as a lot of you guys continually point out, is where strikers go to die, I guess. There's the number 9 curse there. They have a few strikers right now. I mean, they have Aubameyang, Broja. I mean, Kai Havertz kind of plays there. They're also linked with Nkunku. There's a lot of uncertainty whether Jonathan David would be the guy to kind of come in there or if he would be battling for an uphill position. But that's the biggest rumor surrounding Jonathan David right now. There's also, of course, the United links. With Ronaldo potentially leaving, I mean, he just walked out of basically the stadium in the last match and, save a ton of salary if they're able to terminate his contract or they sell him in January. Could be another opening for him to potentially go. Everton, I don't even really want to discuss that much. I don't know if anyone in the chat thinks that Everton would be a good idea, but let me know. I don't, but they have been linked to him. Everton, it would be disastrous. I really, really hope Jonathan David doesn't go there. I think there's a good chance that Everton could get relegated. And then there's Real Madrid and Bayern. And I mean, Bayern don't have a striker right now. They're linked with Harry Kane, Marcus Thuram. Like there's a few other ones there. I know a lot of Canadians would really like to see the link up with David and Davies. It's a possibility. And finally, then there's Real Madrid, who with Benzema there, not looking to slow down anytime soon. I don't know. Those are kind of the options. It's just been kind of confirmed in a way that Lille are looking for 60 million euros. So they're looking for a good chunk of money from some club to be able to afford a player like that. But it makes me think at that type of money, it would have to be a Premier League club. Probably, I mean, if Chelsea go after Nkunku, I think there's an opening there at United. But let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let me know if there's any other clubs I maybe missed out on, or any other things that you wanted to potentially hear. I mean, the Bundesliga links are always fun. Maybe RB Leipzig. Maybe. Luke Carrier says United. I personally think United has the best opportunity just because of the amount of strikers that are already at Chelsea. They're heavily linked with Nkunku. There's a chance that Ronaldo could leave. Martial's injured. Rashford, don't know exactly where he's going to play. If it's going to be up front, it's going to be on the wing. I think that there could be a home there. I like what Ten Hag has done, really kind of reviving that side a little bit. But I don't know. 60 million euros is what it's going to take. Jim says, go to the Prem, please. See, like, if I'm looking outside the box, like two or three clubs I would like to look is like the Serie A. Like if Victor Osimhen moved on, I think there could be a home there at Napoli. If like, I'm not even that anyone has to move on, but at AC Milan, there's Zlatan, there's Olivier Giroud, there's Origi. So one striker who I don't really rate. The other two are aging. There could be a home there. There's always what happens if Lukaku doesn't return to Inter. Jonathan David, could he slide in beside Lautaro Martinez? Or if they sell Lautaro Martinez, could he slide in there beside Lukaku? I really like Serie A, whether it's Inter, AC, or even Juventus, partner him up with like Vlahovic. That's where like I would like to see him go, but I don't know with that 60 million euro price tag if that's actually realistic or not. Ryan says not United. Those fans are a joke. Ryan's not impressed with the fans out of United. But I mean, you can't argue that there's a project that Ten Hag's building. I mean, it was a really, really poor start to the season, and I wouldn't have been sitting here today saying that Jonathan David to United would be a good idea. I mean, I really said that would be one of the worst things for him. But I like the project. Erik ten Hag had a system that he wanted to play. And he's sticking with it. If that means leaving Ronaldo on the bench, making a legend of the game upset, doesn't matter. Ten Hag is playing a system that he wants to play, and I think Jonathan David could fit into that system, which is making me kind of intrigued around the United links. But I just think, I don't know, let me know in the chat right now, guys, between Napoli, so I guess there's 4, between Napoli, AC Milan, Inter Milan, or Juventus, if he was to make a move to Serie A, which there's been no speculation. But if he was to make a move to one of those 4 clubs, which one would you like to see him go to? There were obviously Inter Milan links in the past. They've come and they've gone. I think that one would make sense depending if, like I said, Lukaku or Martinez aren't there next season. But for the most part, I just think because of the price tag, it's hard to look past the Premier League. Get him in at Bayern to pair with Davies. I mean, it's not I don't know. It's not crazy unrealistic considering that Bayern don't have a striker. They sold Lewandowski. They didn't fully invest in a like-for-like replacement. They brought in Sadio Mane, who, yes, can kind of play there. But, I mean, I think in all honesty, Bayern's missing a little something up front. And the big thing with Jonathan David's games I've seen so far this season is that he looks very consistent. We've seen him score a ton of goals. I'm curious to see if he can keep up this pace. And I think that's part of the reason that in the price tag that maybe scared off a few potential buyers is that he scored 13 and 15 goals in 2 Liga seasons, but he's had 2 or 3 pretty long goalless droughts in those 2 years there. And that's not always a good thing, obviously. I mean, it's just part of continuing his development, continuing to grow. But I don't know. I think I don't know about Arsenal either. I thought Arsenal would have made a lot of sense if they didn't sign Gabriel Jesus. I think Jesus is a very similar type of striker to a Jonathan David. I don't know. I don't know if they have the money now to do it. I don't know if there's the need to bring in Jonathan David. I think that the fact that David can even shift out a little bit and so can Gabriel Jesus maybe makes that a little bit more intriguing. But I think Arsenal made their decision. If they were going to sign someone like Jonathan David, they would have signed Jonathan David. They instead went with Gabriel Jesus. I'm not sure how getting the same player in there because, you put a good chunk of money in Gabriel Jesus. He's your main striker up front. You have Odegaard under him. You got Martinelli on one side. You have Saka on the other one. I don't think you're going to buy David to shift Jesus to one of the wings. But I mean, this is the Premier League. This is where the money is sitting right now. Bayern with Davies would be juicy. Yeah, I'm assuming most Canadians would be excited with that link up between Bayern and having the 2 Canadian studs there. But if you guys are just joining the chat today, be sure to drop a like on the stream. Let me know if you guys are at work, if you're just chilling. Like I said, I was hoping this would be a provisional roster stream. I think it would have been so much fun to go through the 55-man or 35 to 55-man squad, but didn't get released. They're going to hold it to themselves. So we're going to speculate because I think Jonathan David has a big opportunity to leave in January. I think the fact that he's scoring and is one of the best players in Liga this season, on top of the fact that he's leading up to a World Cup, which world's biggest stage for a reason. He already hasn't got attention with his first half of the season so far. He will hopefully get attention on the world's biggest stage, which could potentially walk into a transfer window, which could walk into a potential move. But January transfers are expensive. I mean, it's why you see a lot of Prem sides pull them off. It's because they have the money to do so. And at 60 million euros, I would have hard time imagining if he's going to leave in January, it would be anywhere besides the Prem. And who's one big player that's walking out of a club to allow another one to come in? Ronaldo, David. It's kind of where my head's at. Otherwise, Real Madrid's an interesting one. But coming from the Canadian perspective, it's just where's he going to play? I mean, if he was as a striker, I mean, he'd have to take out Karim Benzema, the man who just won the Ballon d'Or. I don't see Benzema slowing down, at least in the next couple years. He's not going to really play out wide. I don't think he's as effective there. He's not going to take Vinny Jr.'s spot. Valverde is playing on the right. Now, you can shift him into the midfield. You could play Jonathan David on the right, but do you really want to invest 60 million euros into David and then play him in a position that's, not really his? So I mean, it's always nice if a Canadian gets linked to Real Madrid. I just think in Jonathan David's case, you want him to go there, you want him to play. You don't really want him to go sit on the bench. And with Benzema in the form he's in, I have a little bit of trouble to think that, at least with Bayern, which is they don't have really an option there. They're playing Thomas Muller up there. They've had Sadio Mane up there. They have Choupo-Moting having to go up there. Like, they don't have a recognized striker. So if Bayern's to pull off a striker and they bring in Jonathan David, that's interesting because there's an opening in one of the biggest clubs in the world. There's an opening up top. They don't have someone like Karim Benzema holding onto that position. So, I mean, and then, every Canadian would just, lose their mind if David and Davies linked up at Bayern. But at least there's an opening there. You can kind of like come up with that. That was like the big issue with me thinking of the Madrid links, is just the fact that Benzema's in incredible form. And then Everton, again, I don't even really want to discuss. I tossed them in the thumbnail, but I don't want him to go to. I don't want. It's a step sideways to me going to Everton. They're in a pretty poor state right now. I think there's a very good chance that Lampard doesn't last the season. I think there's a very good chance that they'll be battling relegation. They're just they're a mismatched kind of club, and I don't think David would do very well there. Just got home from work, says Patrick. What team league do you think he's most likely to go into the winter as of right now? If he's going to move in the winter, I don't think it would be hard to imagine him going anywhere else besides the Premier League because of the money. January transfers are already more expensive. It's a fact. And then on top of that, he's coming off of a World Cup. Take a look at some of the players who've earned moves after a World Cup. Their price tag inflates because prisoner of the moment, you just saw them thrive on the world's biggest stage. People want you. You get their attention. So I think the fact that he'll be going to the World Cup, hopefully, doing well there, going into the January transfer window, which has got a bit of inflated prices already, and Lille are asking about 60 million euros-ish. I think the only clubs that'll probably be able to do that come from the Premier League. I don't see City having an opening. I don't see Liverpool. I don't really see Chelsea. Like I said, I mean, Chelsea, they're the ones linked with him. I think he would potentially do well under Graham Potter, but right now with Aubameyang there, with Broja there, and the fact that they're linked to Nkunku, I don't know. But like in a year's time, I think the Serie A clubs could be interesting, especially Inter. What about Leipzig? I brought this up. I did a video on One Soccer a long time ago where I linked Jonathan David just by myself to RB Leipzig because I didn't think that there was a spot at the time for Bayern, because when I did the video, Lewandowski was gonna be there, and I didn't do a one for Dortmund because Dortmund just signed Sebastian Haller. So I think Leipzig could be in a year's time, like in the summer transfer window, if they sell Nkunku to Chelsea with that money, they could reinvest in David. I don't know if David would want to go to the Bundesliga, or if he does go to the Bundesliga, I don't know if he'd want to go to RB Leipzig. But in Inter, no, Inter have Dzeko, Lukaku, and Martinez. Maybe in Milan as someone who will be replacement for Giroud, and maybe in Napoli. Yeah, I'm speculating, and I'm trying to like create these openings. So out of the four clubs in Serie A, I think that there's a fair place for him there. I just, you have to use your imagination. So if he goes to Inter, it would be because they sold Lautaro Martinez, or they couldn't find a deal to sign Lukaku. And Dzeko, I mean, they play a two-striker system. It's nice to have a few strikers. So I'm not really worried about Edin Dzeko. He's coming towards the end of his career. But if Lukaku or Martinez get sold or don't return next season, there could be an opening there for Jonathan David. For AC Milan, I think it's pretty straightforward with Giroud and Zlatan getting up there in age, and Origi just, not cutting it to be a starting striker. There could be something there. And then, of course, Victor Osimhen. If, say, United or someone drops big bucks, or Bayern drop big bucks for him, there's a decent opening to Napoli. And then there's obviously the links there. I mean, with Osimhen going from Lille to Napoli being the best side right now in Serie A, I think David would maybe be up for that type of move. And they would get massive amounts of money for Victor Osimhen. Massive, massive amounts. So they should be able to drop that type of money to replace him with Jonathan David. But again, those are three different ones right there. And then, of course, there's Juventus, who, just because of the style, I just think he would play well alongside Vlahovic. However, Juventus are not in a pretty state right now. Manchester United, again, just for me, I don't know. For January, if I'm imagining a move, it's hard to look past moving there. But man, I completely forgot that that game was on today. Oh yes, it started at 3, didn't it? We're just talking. Oh no, it hasn't started yet. It's about to start. Okay, well I'll be doing a mini watch along now, but this won't be an overly long stream. But oh, that is excellent. Thank you for reminding me. I'll probably stream for another 10 or so minutes here, and then I might go switch on. I forgot that Benfica and Porto are playing today. Big match for Stefan Eustachio. So big shout out for the reminder there. Oh, I don't know if it got delayed because I thought it was supposed to start at 3, but it looks like it's raining there right now. Fun fact, my parents just came back from Porto, and they hopefully are bringing me a Eustachio jersey. David will get signed by Guatemala FC. I could see David at Bayern because they don't have an out-and-out striker. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of my thinking too, but like they're linked with Harry Kane, they're linked with Osimhen, like they're linked with some other pretty big names as well. But we'll have to wait and see. I am a little torn. I want to imagine that because like when I look at Jonathan David, I simply just look at the fact that I want him to go somewhere where I think he's going to play, and I don't know, man. There's a lot of different places I like, but I just think right now for some reason that the United project is kind of intriguing. Big move, talented manager, team on the up. Like I don't know. I think he could have a good chance of starting, but we'll have to see. Hey Josh, how you doing, my friend? Yedelin is an example. Got to move to Spurs after the World Cup. Yeah, there's a ton of examples out there. Like James Rodriguez is always the one that comes to mind. Like a big move. Went to Madrid and obviously started at Madrid for a while, but Bayern Munich, baby, David connection. A lot of Canadians will like it, man. A lot of Canadians will like it. But like you gotta admit, like I really think the more I talk about it, the Napoli one kind of makes sense, and so does the AC Milan one. But again, you're assuming something's going to happen. I'm assuming Victor Osimhen could get bought for extraordinary amount of money, and then there could be an option there for Jonathan David to come in. Same as Milan. I mean, there's a lot of times had huge injury problems since moving there. Olivier Giroud is coming to an end. I mean, he can maybe last another season or two. But I'm really curious. Let me know in the chat right now, guys. Would you want to see him move in January, or do you want to see him see out his year with Lille? Because remember, he's not playing Champions League football. He did have a great start to the season with Lille, looking very, very good. So it's like, do you want to disrupt that really positive start to the season to earn his big move? Do you want him to see out the season, maybe compete for the Golden Boot? But we'll have to see. Why are you leading into clickbaity nonsense speculation where players will go? It's the point of the video, Chief. I'm not making these up out of the complete blue. I'm taking, it's different stories. I'm not saying that they're the most accurate stories, but it's fun. It's fun to theorize. There's a good chance that Jonathan David could move. But I promised to stream today. I wanted to do the 35 to 55 man roster. That was the original plan for the stream. I was really looking forward to doing that, but Canada didn't release it, so there's this. I don't think this is clickbaity. There's a realistic chance that Jonathan David could move in January. I don't think that's really up for debate, but I don't know where. But the Chelsea rumors are I think out of the realistic look, like sourcing out the clubs I put on the thumbnail, the Chelsea ones are legitimate rumors. You've seen them in a ton of different outlets. There looks like Graham Potter's interested. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. The Madrid one, like I'm a little skeptical about when I read it. Same goes for Bayern because Bayern showed interest in the past. But I think that Jonathan David is a very intriguing topic. He's one of my favorite players. I followed him for a very, very long time, as probably a lot of Canadians have. So I'm really, really, I don't know, man. I'm really, really hoping he can make this next move count. And I think that there's a good chance come January that it could be there because he's looked really good. He looks really confident this season, very composed. He's scoring at a very good rate. And I want to knock on wood because the last few seasons he's ran into some slumps, but he is being very consistent. And I think that he's making clubs really notice him leading into the World Cup. And go look it up. Just look up World Cup transfers and look at the list of players who earn transfers because of how many clubs' attention is going to be on this World Cup. So I'm just speculating that Jonathan David's form, on top of that, with the striker market pool out there, and then the World Cup, there could be a realistic opportunity that clubs are going to be looking to pay big bucks come January. And I'm just trying to speculate where I want to see him because I'm not convinced I want to see him at Chelsea. I'm not convinced I want to see him at United. I don't know really where I want to see him. No club really screams out to me being like, this is where Jonathan David will join a league that he will, one, be successful in, and two, that he will actually play. We've seen a lot of Canadians move over the past year, and some have been really, really good, and some have been really, really bad. Richie Lary's transfer was a disaster. Kyle Laren's transfer was a disaster. Stefan Eustachio's looked like it was going to be up there, and then all of a sudden it turned into a stroke of genius. Tejan Buchanan's transfer worked really well. Jonathan David is up there with Davies in terms of what I think that this kid can do in his career. But making that next move, it's a really fun debate of when he should do it, whether it's January, whether it's the summer, who he should join. Like I said, the striker history at Chelsea isn't always great. But yeah, just a really fun, I don't know, I thought it was a really fun conversation. And like I said, if Canada would have released their provisional roster, we could have maybe discussed that. But Napoli bought Osimhen for 80 million euros, so they would want more for him. Exactly. And imagine if they sell Osimhen for 100 mil and they drop 60 on a replacement like Jonathan David. Like, that's where, you're thinking way ahead to when this could happen, but it could be a landing spot for him. Yeah, no, everyone's more than welcome to give feedback, guys. Absolutely. Not meaning to clickbait anyone. These are rumors. Like, they are rumors. There's not just tossing names up there. But I didn't really do a stream in a while on like the rumors linking David to a club. And with January approaching, I said that I was going to do a stream today. That's kind of why I did it. But everyone's feedback is always welcomed. But Chris is here. He said Manchester United will sign Jonathan David. That's, again, my opinion. Doesn't mean anything in terms of that it will happen or it will not happen. But if you're asking me to put money on it, I just have a feeling that if David's going to move in January, just looking at the January window, to me, it has to be a Premier League side. It has to be a Premier League club because they have the money to pay for the bit of an inflated price because of hopefully he'll be good at the World Cup and the January window is already expensive. 60 million euros. Yeah, I mean, like, if you're looking at a move in January, it's hard to look past the Premier League. And there's been links to Chelsea. There's been links to United. I'm not saying that's where I 100% want him to go, but that's where I see. I think if he spends the rest of the season with Lille going into the summer, I think that the market could open up. Because like I said, a lot of the speculation I'm doing, which is nothing but speculation, going to Inter, going to AC Milan, going to Napoli, going to the Bundesliga, whoever he may go, other things need to happen for that to take place. Osimhen leaving, Zlatan maybe leaving, like, things open up. But well, we'll have to wait and see because I don't know, but following Jonathan David and it feels like 2 seasons ever since he won the league. It's like, when's he going to go? There's got to be interest in him because he's accomplished so much at his time at Lille already. And Lille is a bit of a stepping stone club. You've seen a lot of really good players, Rafael Leao, Victor Osimhen, obviously 2 to come to mind. Sven Botman got a move. Lille set players up for success elsewhere. And Jonathan David seemed to miss out on the train a couple different times. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see where he goes. I think that there's a chance. I really do. I think that there's a chance that depending on the project that comes Jonathan David's way, he would maybe be interested in doing it in January. But if not, then, finished off a strong start to the season, showed that consistent goal scoring form that we've been really seeing so far. Hope maybe he competes for the Golden Boot. You know, pretty good thing to walk away with at the end of the season, despite not having any European football. But I don't know, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, but the fact that Porto is playing Benfica, I'm going to go check that out, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. Like I said, I was hoping to talk about the provisional roster, but I did a stream yesterday. If any of you guys missed it, talking about the MLS squad that hopefully will look pretty fun for when that match comes against Bahrain. I did a video over on One Soccer talking about Davies transfers. So, I mean, if you like the transfer rumor fun videos, I mean, you can check that out. If you don't, of course, you obviously don't have to, guys. But I appreciate you tuning in for the stream today. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Jonathan David. Newcastle, Matt, is another. That's an intriguing one as well. Just, you know, the Saudi project happening over at Newcastle. The money could be there as well. But they spent a lot of money on Isaac, which I think might have put an end to that, guys. But yeah, stay tuned because probably Monday will be the we just did a couple other videos on the channel. One was taking a look at Belgium. One was taking a look at Croatia and their preparation. The Morocco one, which I'm really excited to drop because there just seems that there's this persona and around Canadians thinking that they're going to beat Morocco, as well as the Moroccans thinking they're going to beat Canada, because if there's a way to get out of the World Cup, we're going to have to, one of us is going to have to beat each other to give us any opportunity to make it out of the World Cup group stage. So that one is coming out. I had an awesome guest. His name's Benjamin. It was a really, really good video. I think you guys will enjoy it. It should be released sometime on Monday. So until then, guys, I appreciate you stopping by the chat. And yeah, I think, like I said, the summed up thoughts is that I think if he moves in January, it'll be the Prem. And if he moves in the summer, it could be to a number of different clubs. But I appreciate everyone tuning in. Be sure to drop a like and a sub on your way out if you're new to the channel. And we will see you guys soon. Cheers, friends.